and address the board. They can, for, against. That's what we're here for. I see a lot of people here, so I know somebody's got something to say, so go ahead. Who wants to be first? Okay, good. Counselor, I need you to say your name and address, please.
Give an extra pen. Thank you. That's even better.
Heath Henderson, I live at 353 Briarwood Drive.
Yes, sir.
So right next door,
Okay.
property is right beside my driveway. Some questions I had, I've seen that they've had a plan that they want to try to divide the lot into two separate lots and build, I guess, two structures on it. There's no delineation of the size of structure they want to build or anything else or how close they want to do it. And I see in this variance, they're asking for a reduction in the amount of property you have to have. I think according right now, 20,000 square feet is the amount of land you have to have right now to build any structure in Packlet town limits. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be Spartanburg County also. I've been trying to look and see. 1 acre is 43,560 square feet, correct? So if you take that and divide it in half, you're getting right at a half an acre. Well, this lot is only 0.68 acres total. So if we divide this down the middle, you're going to take it down. It's only going to be 14,520 square feet per lot. That's well below, that's 6,000 feet below the minimum that we have stated in our guidelines already. If you get to that, what does that open up for future building, especially in Briarwood Drive where we're at? Almost every home has a half an acre or more. There's only like 2, maybe 3 that have less than a half an acre that they have a structure on, and they go back way back into the 60s, probably when they were built, maybe in the 70s or 80s, but that was that far back, before the town even had any ordinances about any of that building.
Sure.
They're also asking for variance on how far off the property line to build. 7.5 feet is current code. How close are they wanting to get to the property line? What is that going to open up for future reference? What does that do if one of those structures catches on fire? It gets close to the next one, it's going to burn the other structure down. It makes it unsafe. It makes it unsafe for everybody around when you get those structures too close together at that point in time. How close are they wanting to get to the property line? Are they wanting to get 5 feet, 3 feet? They're not saying how close they want to get. They just want a variance. So how far are we going to be off of it? And then there's another lot at the upper end of the street right now. There's 2 of them empty that are cleared off, just waiting for something to happen. And I guarantee you this, off of this tonight, what happens tonight is going to set a precedent for what goes on the rest of our street and our neighborhood. And I have a petition here with a lot of signatures on it and everything else that our neighborhood doesn't want this. We don't want it on Briarwood Drive. It doesn't fit the what we have or anything else on Briarwood Drive with the type of structures that are there, the houses that are there, and everything else.
Right.
And another question that needs to be answered that I haven't seen an answer for yet or anything else is where's the sewer coming from? Because according to DHEC's regulations, you got to have at least a half an acre to put a septic tank on a piece of property. And you can share a septic tank between the two structures into one septic tank, but each structure has to have their own holding tank and everything else going into another tank that then goes into the drain fields. And if you look at the number of square feet they have to have and the number of housing, and everything's based off how much water flow you have per day into that, and with it being on city water, they can't meet the regulations for DHEC to put septic tanks on there either. So there's not enough room to have that septic tank, because by the time you do the formula, after you do the acreage, they're going to have at least 280 feet of drain line per septic tank. So there's not enough room for that, not in that area they're trying to build in. I know for a fact I have 7 acres on the same street. It's not in the city limits of Packlet, it's in the town, it's in the county. And I can't put more than 2 structures on that 7 acres right now because I don't have enough road frontage according to Spartanburg County rules. I can divide it into 2 lots, but I can still only get 4 structures on there. The only way I can put more structures on there is if I put a road in and a bridge over a creek and everything else, and then it becomes a subdivision, and then it has to meet subdivision requirements also. So we know that's where that has to go. It would be just like Michael's Estates when they built that. They had to put curbing in and drainage and everything else, and that has to be done. So if they're building this and they're asking for variances, then it would have to fall under the subdivision guidelines to where they'd have to put in streets and curbing and everything else if you go that route with it. That's just the way I see it, and a lot of people on our street see it right now. This is not something we want on our street, in our neighborhood, and I don't think it would be good for the town of Packlet to get into this type of building to where we put so many high-density homes in one little area. That's just too much. I mean, that's one structure less than a quarter acre, and that's not what we need. And that, and if this happens here, sets precedence for the rest of the town, and then they change the town from the way we know it now to what we don't want it to be. We don't want to be like Bowling Springs. We don't want all this high-density stuff with not enough resources to cover it. Our schools are already busting at the seams right now. The elementary school is already full. If they put this in, it adds more students into the pile. The fire department, they're having to run medical calls now because EMS can't keep up. They don't have enough people right now to cover it 24/7. They're depending on volunteers, which are hard to find nowadays. And there's not going to be enough generation out of this type of building, money or anything else to help offset that. Our police department be overworked and everything else. We don't have enough police officers now for the town we have. So I don't think that's good for our area. If we want money in our budget and we want to be able to expand more, we need to be trying to entice more people to come in with industry, not residential stuff, because we can't fund all this off of bedroom communities. It's just not viable. Our biggest asset's that river and bringing people in for tourism. Come in, spend your money, and go home. That would help. If we're looking at that, and it's part of our development plan here, we got to look at that with development too. That's where we need to be as a town. That's what I have to say. If there's any questions for me,
Well, I want to thank you. You sound well prepared and a lot of facts that maybe some of our board wasn't familiar with. I kind of think it looks like 32 names in the area. I may be off. I just kind of did it.
Yep.
I want to keep my focus on you.
Yep.
Do you or anybody have questions you want to ask? No? No, I thought you were well prepared. Thank you very much.
Yep.
We have somebody else that'd like to come up?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Beverly Quinn, and I live at 421 Briarwood Drive. My property has two sides of the four sides of this property in question. So I have a lot at stake here, and I can tell you some more facts. Mr. Henderson covered it very, very well, but it seems like there is only one piece of property on our street that is less than half acre, and it's actually 0.41, right there at the R20 regulation, and that was cut out of a piece of existing land from a deed due to probate. So all of the houses on our street, most of them are actually close to an acre or over an acre. It's only a small portion of our street that was developed in 1991 by Quentin Wood Real Estate, and that's when those plots on our lower end of the street were divided into 0.57 acre sections. And the way I understand it is that Briarwood is in the zoning for general neighborhood, which is specifically by the Packlet zoning ordinance, low-density neighborhood. So this type of build would go against the ordinance itself. So I'm not sure why we would consider that when it goes against everything that the ordinance was put in place to protect. The dimensions of the lot, I have that here, and I could not find the exact road frontage requirement.
I don't have that right now, but I think
Usually it's around 100
Yeah, it's 100.
square, it's around 100 feet of not square footage, but road frontage, I couldn't,
100 foot, yes.
100 feet. So you would have to understand that taking this property in half is going to reduce that to 50. And I don't know what kind of structure you're going to build on that slice of property that is going to be anywhere near the existing homes in the neighborhood. And I do have these from the Spartanburg County map system, if you want to see that. I'm sure you've already looked at it.
Yes, ma'am, we have the map.
I also have just a drawing of what a .57 versus a .67 and the in half. You can see this is not comparable.
Sure.
And one of the things for the appeals board specifically, it said that you should not take into consideration any financial gain of the property owner in this decision. And I feel like that's the only reason that this would be approved, is so that this landowner could make more money. And that, I am all for growth. The town of Packlet needs it, but not in this way.
Okay.
And here is my official letter of opposition.
Thank you. Do you have anybody else who wants to come forward?
My name is George Kacharov. I'm a representative of Dale Sumner for DLS Construction. We're not asking for anything new. We purchased, before purchasing the property on February 6th.
If you want, we can do this section as part of the meeting itself, the public hearing, which just for the residents to be able to come out and kind of
Okay.
say for or against on there. Then
I thought you were on the red, okay. So,
What's that?
do you want to do him now then? Or put him-
we could wait till we get to the main
Okay.
part of the meeting, and then he can come and present his case.
Okay, that's fine. I thought you would.
No.
Okay, well, we'll get you back to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as far as the public hearing, does anybody else want to come forward?
Can we hear his case first?
No, this is, we got the public hearing, and then we'll go right, we'll end that, and then we go to the board zone, the meeting for when that's part of. This is just for the public who wants to come and let us know what they think. For or against. Maybe somebody here wants the people, I don't know. Anybody?
I live at 493 Briarwood, and I don't want it.
Well, sir, I gotta have you come up here though.
I don't want it.
Okay. That's okay. Well, if there's no one else wants to come forward, we're going to end this portion of the public hearing. And, okay, come on forward there. How you doing, sir?
Hi, how are you? We're new to the area. We have 469 Briarwood.
What's your name?
David Lee.
Go ahead, Dave.
New to all the information that I haven't really heard much about it other than my neighbor talking about it. I don't know how you got out to the public to inform people about this.
The town does that. That's the board,
The town of Packlet puts it out at least 15 days in advance in the newspaper, and then we also put a sign in the front yard, and if anybody wants to learn more about it, they can come to town hall or call town hall.
So you put a sign in front of the property?
Yes, that's correct.
That's on an off-street that nobody sees?
We're required to put a sign in front of the property, yes.
So you couldn't put something on the Packlet webpage informing people?
It is the meeting and the public hearing is on the Packlet webpage.
But nothing in regards to this specific problem?
This agenda item and this agenda that you see up here was posted on our website.
Not on the Packlet website, it wasn't.
It was.
I just looked at it about 5 minutes ago and there was nothing on there. Here and there. But anyway, I think, like I said, I'm new to all this. I think it's a bad idea. It would go against the rest of the houses that are on that road. Who knows what it might bring in. I wasn't here for everybody's. I'm assuming not everybody likes it. Not sure. Anybody go for it? Nobody? Can't see how you can go forward with it. I live on that street. I don't want to see that. Keep it basic, simple. Thank you for your time.
yes, sir, thank
A
you.
little more notification would help and stuff like this in the future.
Okay, that's with the city. I'll let them know that see, maybe we can do some other meetings, but I think we're following the law specifically. Okay, another person. Yes, ma'am.
Darlene Henderson, 353 Briarwood.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want a small statement to make. My husband and I got on our golf cart, and we started at one end of Briarwood, and we only knocked on the houses where people were home, and we only did it on Saturday afternoon. So some of my neighbors behind me probably were not home. Every door we knocked on and someone came to the door, every single person was in opposition. Every single person wants our neighborhood to stay like it is. Houses, yard, houses, yard. We don't know what these folks are planning, so I'm not condemning what they're planning. But I will say that, and you counted the names, I didn't even count the names, the number of people on there, every person lives on Briarwood Drive, and we knocked on every door, but if they weren't home, obviously I didn't get in touch with them. We only tried that one day, but the point I want to make is every person that I was able to speak with, nobody was in favor of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anybody else? Okay.
Good evening.
How you doing, sir?
Charles Burns, 441 Briarwood Drive with my wife Marie. And I don't want to sit here and repeat everything everybody said. I did want to just stand up and say we do oppose it as well. As a realtor, I know that, there's a lot of interest in multi-unit families, a variety of things, changes values, changes the demographics of the area. And so I just wanted to let know we are in opposition of it as well.
Thank you, sir. We have anybody else? There we go.
My name's Dallas Miller. I live at 348 Briarwood Drive, which is basically almost across from it. I got 5 acres of land there. I got told a while back I got a half an acre, a little over just a half an acre, that I wanted to put kind of a tiny home or something like that for my son, and I got told that it had to be an 800 square foot minimal house to build on that lot. I don't know too much about everything, I believe Heath covered it pretty well, but to me, an 800 square foot minimal house going on a 40 or 50 foot wide lot by just a little bit longer than that, you can't have much of a yard, you can't have much parking or anything like that, and, we're a quiet neighborhood, and it's like everybody said, we got our own yards, we got our houses, and our kids are out there playing and everything, and to me, I feel if we're trying to put 2 houses on that, you're not going to have a yard, you're going to be parking in the street, and then here comes this mess, We like our little quiet neighborhood, we like it like it is. My thing is, you've got one lot there, why can't one house be built? That's my question. Why can't one just be built? Why do we got to divide this into 2 lots and have this mess? Is it that much that that we got to have? That's my questions. I am against it. I don't want it on my street. We're a quiet neighborhood. We have tons of kids everywhere. We don't want this mess. Thank you.
We have anybody else that come forward? Okay, we'll go over here. Do we need to put a chair? We've got to walk. Okay, so.
My name is Fern Scharf. I live at 131 Briarwood Drive. I have an acre and 1.3 acres of land. If this property is divided in half, does that mean that I can build 3 houses on my property?
Well, you'd have to file for an appeal. No, right now, by the way, it's right now, no, you couldn't build. You'd have to ask for exception, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, and one other thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Will this property being treated as two houses bring the property values down, or will it bring them up?
Well, I'm not a real estate person, so I can't really tell you. So that's kind of out of the realm that we do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do we have anybody else like to come forward? Going once? Twice? Okay, this ends the public hearing part. This will end our public hearing on where the public actually talks, and now we're going to go right into the Board of Appeals. So I'm going to call the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order in compliance with the Freedom Information Act. Notified meeting submitted by fax to the Spartanburg Herald-Journal, posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of Town Hall and on the Town Hall website. We're going to do roll call. So we have
Gordon Erickson.
I'm present.
Rhonda Lee. Eric Green.
Present.
Joseph Parfit.
Present.
Angela Pilgrim. Present. Buford Smith. Chris Harris.
Okay, roll's done. We're here tonight to consider the variance for 401 Briarwood Drive. And now we're going to hear from the town administrator.
Yes, as the town administrator, I also work as the zoning administrator, and this project was brought to us and was requested to turn this lot into 2 lots. We denied that because it currently does not meet with the new zoning ordinance, which was passed earlier this month at the second reading. But like I had, just so y'all know, the town council had approved what's called the pending ordinance doctrine. And what that means is once the town starts going through the process of changing an ordinance, this particular ordinance for changing the zoning out here, that nothing could be brought forward that was in compliant with the old ordinance. Anything new, if you matched what the new zoning ordinance states, then you could go ahead and continue forward on there. This particular project does not match with the new zoning ordinance. The current property is approximately 30,000 square feet and wanted to divide it into 2 separate lots. To divide it into 2 separate lots, it would be approximately 15,000 square foot a lot. Therefore, we have to deny that because it's not 20,000 square feet. In addition to that, where the person would be placing the home, we require 100 feet across from 100 feet of space from one end of the boundary to the other. In that, once you divide the property, you'd have approximately about 50 square feet, which was another reason that we ended up denying it. We'll end up going through here, let's see. If you look on your screens here, I included some information about the Board of Zoning Appeals, mainly because of the fact that y'all don't often meet. There's not a lot of variances that are out there, not a lot of appeals that are requested out there, and so you're an as-needed board. And there's some items that I wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of. Since the new zoning ordinance came into effect, first off, that one thing on there is for decisions. So this 5-2.3, someone brings a case to y'all where I have denied it, and they're asking for an appeal or a variance to overturn my decision on there. You need to have a 4 in favor of reversing my decision in order to actually reverse it. Since there are only 4 of you here tonight, if 3 of you voted to overturn my decision that I had previously made on this, it does not get overturned. You have to, all 4 of you have to approve the request of the variance for it to be able to approve. Under the powers and duties, 5-2.5.2, to hear, this is one of the powers and duties of the Board of Zoning Appeals, is to hear and decide appeals for variance from the requirements of this ordinance when strict application of the provisions of this ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. And that's the key. So what ends up happening is the applicant has to show hardship to be able to, for y'all to be able to approve their request to vary or variance of the ordinance. Of these hardships, there are extraordinary or acceptable conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, and topography. The conditions do not generally apply to other properties in the vicinity. Because of these conditions, the applicant of this ordinance to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property, and D, the authorization of a variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting of the variance. In addition to here, there's some additional comments. The board may not grant a variance, the effect of which would be to allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in a zoning district. What that is pertaining to is this is a residential area and someone requests a variance to put a hotel or a restaurant. That use is not allowed in residential zonings anywhere. So you could not, someone could not, I mean, people can put in a variance for whatever they'd like, but you could not approve that because that use is not allowed in that particular, in residential altogether. To extend physically a non-conforming use of land or to change the zoning district boundary shown on the official zoning map. So you can't change the zoning map that's out there. The fact that property may be utilized more profitably should a variance be granted may not be considered grounds for a variance. So that just basically means that if someone's bringing a project to you and it's going to be more profitable with the change in the variance, that's something that you cannot consider as a reason for the variance. We received this application for the property in question on 4/15/25 for the meeting today. Y'all have attached the request for 401 Briarwood Drive by Mr. Summers, who will be coming to speak later. Y'all have all had a chance to look through this, and they have provided their reasoning for their hardship for y'all to be able to consider. In addition, if y'all have additional questions for the applicant, this would be the time that we would go through that. I also included in your packet, but I also wanted it to be something that y'all are looking at. This is the new R20 single-family residential. Properties have to have at least 20,000 square feet. Specifically, the section that forced the town to deny the request is under this section here, which discusses the lot specifications. So minimum lot size for the dwelling unit is 20,000 square feet, and the lot width at the building line. So wherever they end up intending to build the structure, there must be a minimum of 100 feet in space there from boundary to boundary. In addition to that, you would have a front yard setback of 35 feet from the road, 30 feet from the back of the property to the structure, 15 feet per side from the house to the boundary, and if there was an alley in that particular area, you would have 15 foot from the center line of the alley. The two main reasons the town denied this request would be because the property would be less than 20,000 square feet in size, and the two properties that would be created from this one property, instead of 100-foot width, there will be no place to be able to do that. To build two homes or a home on each one of these lots, it would be approximately 50 feet on each one of these lots, which would have to vie like this. So those are the two main reasons that the town ended up denying this, this request. At this time, if you would like for the applicant to come up and...
I had one question for you.
Sure.
When you said that the town, the new plan, this is what the planning commission, that represents the whole town, came up with, that the town council approved, is that not right?
The town's been working on this zoning ordinance for the past 6-8 months.
Okay.
And through this process, it had to be recommended formally by the planning commission. There was a public hearing at that particular time. That recommendation was given to council. Council had 2 separate readings for this and approved it and made the changes for this. And this particular section was, all of this is what the council approved.
Right, okay, I just want to make sure everybody knew that. When you say the city, sometimes people, I think, get the wrong impression that just the city council, but it was the planning commission that represents everybody, not just their councilman that did it.
One other thing that I want to make sure that you are aware of, as the fact that the town does not have these on a regular basis, these meetings, is if you end up denying this, the only way that the applicant would be able to overturn your decision, the town council does not review your decisions.
Right.
From the town's perspective, if you deny it tonight, the town's done, and it is denied, and the only way to overturn it would be, let me see if I can, where did I miss it? Oh, it's up on the other side. Come on. Yes, in exercise of the above powers, the Board of Zoning may, and this is something big to know, in conformity with the provisions of this act, reverse or affirm wholly or in part, or may modify the order, requirements, decisions, or determinations, and to this end shall have all the powers of the officer from whom an appeal is taken and may issue or direct the issuance of permit. The board, in the execution of duties which appointed, may subpoena witnesses. Okay. There's a section on here, and I'm trying to remember where it is, but if you end up denying it here, that may appeal your decision to the circuit court in the county of Spartanburg.
Right.
The other thing is, if y'all are also welcome to approve this with conditions, and y'all get to set those conditions, and if the applicant wants to comply with those conditions, then that would be one way of being able to get something approved.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
Anybody? Patrick? Sir, I think we're ready for you now.
Again, my name is George Kacharov. I'm a representative for Dale Sumner. He's the owner of DLS Construction. We wouldn't have purchased this property if it wasn't allowed to be subdivided. It just wasn't worth it. Before we bought it, I called and I spoke to, I guess, Patrick Kay, town administrator, and I called the day, about 5 hours prior to closing on this property, can we subdivide it? And he looked it over and said, yes, you can. We will be changing the ordinance, I guess, and you need to hurry up and submit it before May. I was never informed that there would be, the pause for any new developments. What was that term used?
The pending ordinance.
Pending ordinance, yeah. So he reviewed it, he said you have about 100 feet of frontage, give or take. We had a survey done, and it's close to 100. Each lot would be 49.88, so roughly 50-foot lots. And we were told to get it done as quickly as possible. We pulled a demo permit with the town of Pacolet. We demoed that old mobile home that was on there. It had tree damage, I guess, from the storm. We purchased it February 6th. We pulled the demo permit February 12th. So 6 days later, we pulled the permit. We had it demoed. We got the surveyor. I was actually at the surveyor's office when I was speaking to Patrick Kay. And they said, yeah, it's fine, and the surveyors, we can get it done. Patrick said to get it done as quickly as possible. That's what we did, and our plans are to build 2 homes, anywhere from 11 to 1,300 square feet, roughly 12 foot away from each property line, so the homes would be about 24 feet or so, give or take, apart. The 2 homes that we built. Single-family homes, no multifamily. So we wouldn't have, like I said, we wouldn't have purchased it if we weren't able to subdivide. That's I guess, any questions for me?
So, when you bought it, to be clear here, what I understood, you're saying the city told you could go ahead and build, you could do that, you could make 2 homes there?
We were told that we can subdivide, and it'd have to be, we were told it was 30-foot frontage, and we had more than enough space, so we were extra 20 feet roughly. Now it's being changed to 100 foot.
I understand.
So that's the only reason we purchased it.
Stay right there for a minute. So Patrick, well, I guess my question for the city would be, at what point, if he started building, when could he have done whatever he do to make where he's starting this project? And where's I'm trying to figure out so we all understand what happened, so everybody in the audience here understands too.
So there's 2 things that, to consider on here, what's called the pending ordinance doctrine. And so council approved the pending ordinance doctrine at the April council meeting. We later on received the application about 2 weeks after, approximately, after that council meeting. There is the pending ordinance doctrine, and then there's what's called the vested rights doctrine, or the Vested Rights Act. And what that means is that, you own a piece of property, and once you file your permit or request to change, once that date happens, you can go, and at that time, the ordinance is one thing, and then later on it changes, you can use the existing at that time. Now, what council ended up doing was, once they invoke so as long as you put in that application for a building permit, or put in that request for zoning change prior to the new ordinance being passed, you were good. However, once the town put in what's called the pending ordinance doctrine, once they pass that, that starts the timeline at that point. The Vested Rights Act is that if the town had not done that, and the town went through the entire process, and the day the town was going to do the second reading of the zoning ordinance, before that zoning ordinance was officially put into place, if someone put in an application that currently met the old ordinance, that would be the time that it would take that old ordinance versus the new ordinance that came into effect.
And did they have that in?
They did not.
Did not.
We weren't aware of any pending ordinance doctrine being passed.
In other words,
I was never
you were
informed.
the homeowner, didn't do the research to find out, basically. Is that correct?
What we were told was get it done before, get the demo, pull the permits, and get the plat done and brought to us for approval before the first reading, which was May 1st.
You did that?
And we did that.
We did not receive this application here until 4/15, which would have been after the first reading. Oh, I'm sorry,
The pending ordinance.
the pending ordinance was And let me look back and see when that was done.
So I just want to make sure that, you know, we're doing everything right, let Patrick know.
Yeah.
I see the opposition
Understood,
here,
yeah.
but by the same token, if you did what you're supposed to before it got changed, and I think that needs to be.
Well, I wish I would have known, or we would have known about the pending ordinance doctrine.
You in the city or, you know, wherever, I don't.
So
That's not our job.
I,
Yes, sir, I
yeah.
understand. So let's just.
so,
Can we ask another question? Can we ask a question, clarification?
We already had the public hearing. So just hold on a minute.
That's why I want to hear his case. Exactly.
Hold on, let's just, let Patrick find the stuff. It's not like an open discussion here and stuff at this point. We already did the public hearing part.
Yeah.
I can't change the rules and stuff. It's
It's
just.
hard to say what you gotta say when you want to hear what he's got to say about it.
Yeah.
I agree.
So at the 4-3 council meeting, council had the first reading of the adoption of the zoning ordinance and map, and it would have been at the March meeting, I believe. Yes, that would have been at the March 6th meeting, council approved or the pending ordinance doctrine.
Okay. All right. Sir, do you have any more you want to?
I wish we would have been, you know, told, I think it would have been appropriate to say, hey, we have a pending ordinance doctrine being set in place or just decided upon. But what we were told was get it done before the first council reading, and that's what we did. So,
All right. Does anybody have questions?
oh, and then, I guess, regarding the septic system, we obviously go through SCDES, formerly DHEC, and if that doesn't, if they don't permit it, then we always get an engineer to look into it. So the septic, obviously the homes will be built on based on the septic permit. But plans are, like I said, 1,100 to 1,300 square foot homes. Thank you. Thank you.
For the record, the first reading was on April 3rd for the new zoning ordinance, and the application came in on April 15th.
Okay. Do I have a motion to vote? Your vote? Motion. You guys say?
Motion.
Anybody second it? Second. All right. What do you think, Hannah? You want to approve, disapprove?
Disapprove.
What do you guys say loudly here?
Disapprove.
What's that?
Disapprove.
Is that was your motion? If y'all...
I had a first second to take a vote, and he's the first one, he said he's disapproving, he doesn't want to move forward. I guess we can.
Disapprove.
Disapprove.
And I'm going to disapprove it too. I think they had the time. I can't help what happened on the administrative side. That's not our job. Our job is to simply look at what's given to us and what the city wants to do and the people. And I'm going to disapprove it.
So what you'll need to do is, someone will need to make a motion to deny the variance for 401 Briarwood.
When you deny, when you
I make a motion.
Somebody second that motion? Second that motion. Okay, the motion is carried.
Okay, so there was, who made the motion to deny? Eric, and who seconded?
Joe.
And then all in favor were all of y'all?
Yes, sir.
And no one opposed? Okay.
First, I want to thank the public and you two for all coming forward and giving us the sides and stuff. The gentleman back there, I don't know what was the outcome he wanted. I do appreciate the town's support, the documents I'm going to give to the city, so they can keep it in the record. I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Yes, sir. Second. Motion to approve, we're going to adjourn the meeting.